Basic Spanish, Program 10, Shopping. We're going to study a group of verbs called stem-changing verbs. You already know how to change endings of verbs for the different subjects in the present tense. Some verbs, in addition to their regular verb ending changes, make a change in the stem.
¿Quieres ir de compras?
Do you want to go shopping? Which is a stem-changing verb? Correcto. Stem-changing verbs, in forms where they change the last vowel of the stem. That is, the last vowel in the infinitive before the infinitive ending.
¿Puedes sugerir una buena zapatería?
Can you suggest a good shoe store?
Sugerir.
To suggest is a stem-changing verb. Which vowel will change? Eso es. The changes made in stem-changing verbs occur only in some forms, but they do follow a regular pattern regarding the changes and the forms in which the changes are made. These changes are due to the evolution of the Spanish language from Latin. Why does Spanish have stem-changing verbs? Bueno. Only verbs with an E or an O as the last vowel before the infinitive ending can be stem-changing verbs. Could barrer, to sweep, be a stem-changing verb? Muy bien. Not all verbs with O or E as the last vowel of the stem are stem-changing. To know if a verb is stem-changing or not, check a vocabulary list or dictionary entry. If it is, you should find its stem change in parentheses following the infinitive. For example,
Querer.
to want,
Recordar.
to remember. Which verb is stem-changing? Por supuesto. In the present indicative, in all three verb groups, AR, ER, and IR ending verbs, there are stem-changing verbs where O becomes UE or E becomes IE. Among IR verbs only, there also are stem-changing verbs where E becomes just I. Where can you find all changes? O to UE, E to IE, and E to I. Claro. In the present indicative of stem-changing verbs, changes occur in all forms where the stress falls on the last vowel before the infinitive. If the stress is elsewhere, the O or E remain unchanged. So, for instance, for
Querer.
to want, we have
Quiero.
I want, but
Queremos.
we want. To understand is,
Entender.
how do you say, I understand? Magnífico. From
Entender.
to understand, we get I understand.
Entiendo.
How do you say we understand? Sí. Let's take
Querer.
to want as a model for an E to IE stem-changing verb in the present indicative. Your three key forms are
Quiero.
I want, I am wanting, I do want,
quiere,
you, he, she, it wants, and so forth. And
queremos.
we want, we do want, we are wanting. What is the tú form? Muy bien. How do you say, you all want, they want? Bien hecho. Remember, entender, to understand.
¿Entiende mi español?
Do you understand my Spanish? Answer affirmatively. Claro. If you and a Spanish classmate are asked,
¿Entienden ustedes bastante español para ir de compras en México?
do you understand enough Spanish in order to go shopping in Mexico? How would you answer that you understand enough Spanish? Sí
Empezar,
means to begin, to start. Talking about some store, tell a friend that the special sale
la venta especial,
starts today. Bueno,
empezar,
and
comenzar,
both mean to begin, to start. You can say,
la venta especial empieza hoy,
or
la venta especial comienza hoy.
when empezar or comenzar is followed by an infinitive, an a must go before the infinitive.
Empiezan a cerrar las puertas.
They're beginning to close the doors.
Abrir,
Is to open. How would you say, with comenzar, they're starting to open the doors? Bravo. To close in Spanish is,
cerrar.
how would you ask a male clerk at a store, what time do you all close? Correcto.
Señor, ¿a qué hora cierran?
How will the man say, we close at 5? Excelente. You remember the impersonal constructions with se, such as,
Aquí se habla español.
they speak Spanish here, Spanish is spoken here, and
Se abre a las 9.
they open at 9, it is opened at 9. How would you ask, using an impersonal construction, what time do they close the bank? What time is the bank closed? Magnífico.
¿A qué hora se cierra el banco?
How How would you say they, impersonal, close the stores late? The stores are closed late. Careful, you're talking about more than one store. Por supuesto
Sugerir.
is to suggest. How would you ask several friends, which market do you suggest going to? Literally, to what market do you suggest going?
What?
Eso es.
¿A qué mercado sugieren ir?
How will your friends answer, saying, we suggest going to the nearest one?
El más cercano.
Claro.
Sugerimos ir al más cercano.
We suggest going to the nearest one.
Cercano.
An adjective means nearby.
El más cercano.
Is the nearest one, referring to a masculine singular noun. Here, mercado, market. If it were referring to tienda, store, the nearest one would be
La más cercana.
say the nearest ones, referring to supermarkets.
Supermercados.
Bien. You have worked with E to IE stem changing verbs in all three conjugation groups. For AR verbs,
Comenzar.
and
Empezar.
to begin, to start,
Cerrar.
to close. For ER verbs,
Querer.
to want, and
Entender.
to understand. And for IR verbs,
Sugerir.
to suggest. What is the infinitive of nieva? It's snowing. Bueno. Let's look at some verbs that change O to UE.
Almorzar.
Is to eat lunch. The three key forms in the present indicative are
Almuerzo.
I eat lunch, I am eating lunch, I do eat lunch.
Almuerza.
You, he, she eats lunch, and so forth. And
Almorzamos.
we ate lunch, we are eating lunch, we do eat lunch. How do you say, you, informal, eat lunch? Muy bien. And what is, you all eat lunch, they eat lunch? Correcto.
Poder.
means can, to be able.
Pagar
Is to pay for. The bus is.
el autobús.
How do you ask a friend if he or she can pay for the bus? Sí. And how would you answer?
¿Puedes pagar?
¿Cómo no?
¿Pueden Ana y Luis cambiar un cheque de viajeros aquí?
Can Anna and Luis cash a traveler's check here? Literally, change, exchange, a check of travelers
Claro.
is of course. If you add a verb, as in, of course they can, you use que after claro. Answer saying, of course they can. Eso es.
¿Pueden ustedes ponerlo a mi cuenta? Poner
Means to put.
lo
Is it. Lo is attached to poner because poner is an infinitive. The question asks, can you put it on my account? This is a way to ask to charge something.
¿Pueden ustedes ponerlo a mi cuenta?
How will the one asked say, of course we can? Magnífico.
Se puede.
One can, one is able, often is used in a question to ask if it's permissible to do something. Someone knocking on a door might ask,
¿Se puede pasar?
may I come in? More literally, can one pass, meaning pass inside? Ask if you can pay by check,
Con cheque.
if it's permissible to pay with a check. Sí. To sleep is.
Dormir. Los fines de semana,
On the weekends.
¿duermen ustedes hasta tarde?
Do you all sleep late? Literally, do you sleep until late? Answer that you sleep only
Solo.
until 6.
¿Duermen ustedes hasta tarde?
Bien hecho. How would you say, you don't sleep in class? One doesn't sleep in class. You have worked with an O to UE verb of each conjugation group. For AR verbs,
Almorzar.
to eat lunch. For ER verbs,
Poder.
can, to be able. And for IR verbs,
Dormir.
to sleep. What do you suppose is the infinitive of
Llueve.
it is raining? Hint, it's not an IR verb. Here are a few more useful O to UE stem changing verbs.
contar,
To count,
costar,
to cost,
encontrar,
to find, to meet,
recordar,
to remember,
devolver,
to return something,
envolver,
to wrap,
llover,
to rain,
volver,
to return, to come back, to go back,
dormir,
to sleep. Say, how much does it cost? Bravo. You remember that besides verbs that change O to UE or E to IE, there are some stem-changing verbs with infinitives ending in IR that change the E just to I, not IE. Let's take
pedir,
to ask for, to order as a model. The three key forms are
pido, pide,
and.
pedimos.
Say, you, tú, ask. Muy bien. And what is they ask? Excelente.
¿Qué pide usted?
What are you asking for? How would you say that you're asking for the bill?
La cuenta.
Claro. While shopping, you might stop for something to eat. If someone asks you and the others with you,
¿Qué piden ustedes?
what are you all ordering? Answer that you're ordering vanilla ice cream.
Helado de vainilla.
Eso es. Some other frequently used IR stem changing verbs with E to I are
Servir,
to serve,
repetir,
to repeat,
seguir,
to continue, to follow, and
conseguir,
to get. How would you ask what they're serving at dinner?
en la comida.
Magnifico. Remember, a G followed by E or I is pronounced like an H, but elsewhere is G.
Seguir,
Has the U in it to give the G the G sound, which it wouldn't have if the I were the next letter. So we write,
sigue, seguimos,
etc. But
sigo,
without the U because it isn't needed. Type,
sigo, sigues, seguimos.
excelente.